Okay. Chafal from the base. Tanu Rabbanan. Hakela v'agdisha dolgo mimata lamala pturin. Malamala lamata chayavin. So we had before, the Mishnah said that it's normal for a dog and a goat to jump down off the roof. We said the roof in those days wasn't so tall, but jumping down is downward motion is normal. Here it says in the Brisa that the jump upward is not expected. It says if they jumped mimata lamala from upward, down from the bottom upwards, so then pater. Rashi says it means pater from the Shalom is not normal, so it's Chatzi Nezek like Karen. Taisus has another possibility, but we'll learn Rashi that it's considered abnormal and therefore it's only Chatzi Nezek. And that's normal. They jump downwards, therefore they're chayav.
Are they jumping up for food? That's why we're saying it's pater from shame, rego.
The case of the Mishnah was over here that it broke something. So you don't have to talk about for food of any particular.
It broke something, but it was rego because it was with its body. So
right.
Pater from
rego. It wasn't doing it for the purpose of damaging. It just was jumping.
Not shame, it's rego.
So jumping down.
From rego. Because pater means pater from rego, but it should still be high.
Right, Karen. Right. Right. Adam, but a person, a human being, or a chicken, rooster, so then it would be even upward. So the Pashup Shot would mean that it's normal. Rashi says 2 points. Adam, a person, is nothing to do with normal, not normal. A person is high of everything that he does. So even if it's abnormal, that's not a reason to make any difference by a person. A tarnagol has to be because it's normal. So that's true that it's normal for a tarnagol also to jump upwards. It flaps its wings a little bit. It's able to make an upward jump also. So both of them are normal. So no problem about everything has to do just know the norm. You have to know the norm of animals, birds. So that's good. There was a problem top of the page. Good morning. Good morning. There's a problem. This is against the Mishnah even. Taisus points out this is against the Mishnah. It says that it's not normal even for a dog and a gedit to jump downwards, and that the Mishnah says openly that it is. So that's a problem. The Gemara is going to ask the kasha. Could have asked the kasha from the Mishnah alone. And the way to test the Brisa, because the Brisa talks about the Brisa. What does the Brisa say differently? The Brisa said that it's not normal to jump upward, and here it says that it's not normal to jump downward, which is against the Mishnah also. Okay, the more could have asked it on the Mishnah. The answer is Tigmar Papa the Apich Mepich Kalba Bezkira Begadi Besricha. So Papa explained the Brisa that says Pater is that did it in an abnormal way. It means even jumping down is normal, but only in each animal has its own personality, characteristic, its own norm. So a dog, Rashi says the word Zakira means to jump, and Sricha means that it puts its claws into the floor, maybe to get some.
Is that Friday?
What?
Isn't it like a mountain climber?
I don't know. We're talking about jumping down or jumping up. Rashi says, "No, it's part of the Bekosa. It's not the regular way. Zakira, the word Zakira means just jumping, and Sricha means that it puts its nails into the wall or into the floor in order to jump, and that's not the normal way. So it seems to be. I'm not sure, but I think it seems to be that besides the point of up and down, the point is just the way that it jumped. It jumped in an abnormal way, and it's interesting to me that even though it doesn't make a difference how it jumped, but it's normal to jump down. But if it jumped in an abnormal way, so it becomes Karen. It becomes Karen. That's interesting. Even though the jump, do you care exactly how it did the jump? It says here that you do care how it did the jump. If it jumped it acted in an abnormal way, whatever the normal way is, so that makes it to become Karen. If that's good enough, we can go right then. Then if it's regular, it's regular, and if it's abnormal, then it's Karen. So this kasha could have been asked earlier also. Rashi said it already in the bottom of the page that when it says pater, Rashi says it doesn't mean pater, it's meshuna, so it's Karen. And the more express that says that over here. Pater is nezek shalom b'chayav b'chatzi nezek. That's what it means. When it says pater, it doesn't mean that's pater completely because it is Karen. Meshuna is still chayav b'chatzi nezek. So that's what it means. So, kids, so what have we done so far? That each animal has its norm if it jumps up or down, and even if it jumps in the right direction, it also has its norm how it jumps, and if it does it in an abnormal way, so all these things are Karen as chayiv chatzi nezek only. Okay, now so that's a big sugya that goes on for about a page, and we'll see right away the title of the sugya, Rabbi Yochanan Amar and Rish Lakish. Okay, try to get that. Rabbi Yochanan. So the Mishnah had a story that a dog took a harora, some kind of a loaf, a cake, a cookie, and it had a coal attached to it, and he ate the cookie. That's nothing to talk about that. He's chayiv because Shane, he ate somebody else's food. But then the kacheles, the coal that was attached to it, so it caused the fire and it burnt the Gaddish. So it says in the Mishnah that for the Gaddish you pay Chatzi Nezek. And all we know about that, we just start off the Mishnah, we said that we only know two Chatzi Nezek. It's either Karen, if it's Mishnah, it's Chatzi Nezek, what's Rosh is Chatzi Nezek. It doesn't seem to be anything Mishnah over here. Nothing's abnormal. So it's going to be some kind of Sroros. And we're going to have to figure out where do you have Sroros in this fire that he caused the Gaddish to get burnt. Where do you have Sroros? That's how but the Gemara doesn't start with the Mishnah. The Gemara starts with the Sugya called the Yochanan or Shlokish, and then we're going to eventually get to our Mishnah. Rabbi Yochanan says, and maybe there's another color for this. Shlokish argues, and Shlokish says, Shlokish Amar, so going back into we're going to Eish. Now really we're not in the Sugya of Eish. We're not really there. I think that our Sugya is not really Eish. We had Shor, and we have to talk about war. Everything is going to be a Sugya. Maybe we did have a little bit here and there, but not a Gemara is coming into Eish to explain our Mishnah, which seems to say that fire was Troros. To hear the case of the Gaddish, of the Kelev, with the Charora, with the Kachelas and the Gaddish, it says something about Chatzi Nezek. It seems to be Troros, and that's how the Gemara wants to explain what is the essence of Eish in order to figure out our Mishnah that is Chayiv Chatzi Nezek. So Yochanan says every fire, every fire that a person is responsible for is considered his arrow. It's considered his arrow. It's true, it's a kind of an arrow that you have to have help, like the one said before, it's not just that he threw the arrow through the stone, but he has to have the wind in order to facilitate. Chitzav. It has a not chitzav with a chitzav would be one arrow. Chitzav is arrows. Chitzav. So a person's fire is considered his arrows, and when same way the reason why it's high for his fire burning is because it's high for throwing an arrow. When he lets a fire go, it's as if he threw an arrow. And the Gemara is going to say all of the ramifications of that definition. Rish Lakish says, no, it's not an arrow. Rish Lakish Amar Eisha Misham Amono. The person's high for his fire because it's his. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's his monetarily, that he has to pay money for it and it makes acquisition on. It's not a regular moment, but it means that he's responsible for his fire, not because.
But it means as if he did it directly.
Rish Lakish says he did it directly. His mama did it. That's the opposite. Rabbi Yochanan says he did it directly. Who did directly?
Well, I thought the arrow goes out and then it's not his body that's doing it.
That's not kolcho. How did we say before? Kolcho kigufo. Is that what is that the terminology we use?
That's
okay. So by a person, there's no difference if it's throws or not. The person throws a stone.
Well, by a person,
there's no there's no leniency by a person. Kolcho kigufo. So when he throws a stone, he's chayiv. And if he throws an arrow, he's chayiv. When he throws a fire, he's chayiv. And even though the fire needed a little bit the wind to facilitate it, but that's called also he's chayiv anyway. But it's considered his arrow, he's chayiv for his own damages, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And Shlokish says no, it's chayiv because his property damaged. His fire is considered like his same way he's chayiv for his shore, for his bore, he's chayiv for his fire also, not because he threw it. He doesn't hold this concept that is called a arrow. Doesn't even mean literally it's his money. It doesn't have to be his money. It's not like an ox that he buys, then he makes a kinyan, mashicha, a fire, you don't have to do all of that. But it's considered his responsibility to take care of his fire.
So right away, we have a kasha on Rabbi Yochanan. Wasn't the first Mishnah that there were 4 Mazikim? Right. And 1 was man.
And 1 was fire.
And 1 was fire. So how can you say that
every fire was
man? So why would there be 2 that are man?
So it could be that I was trying to say that the kochacham wurbo. It's not mamash a kochel because you can say that the wind. He needed the wind to make it move. It's not like an arrow that he shoots only with his own koach. He doesn't need anything helping it. And the Torah is mechadesh. The Torah says that that's also called his koach. But after the Torah says that it's high for his fire, the hagdara, the definition of the parameters of the chiyuv is going to be that it's his koach. He wouldn't, not that he would have known it, maybe, not that he would have known it without the pasuk. But once the pasuk says that you chayiv for your fire, the way that the Torah means to chayiv you, the hagdara, the definition of this chiv that the Torah says is because you threw it. The Gemara explains each one. Why doesn't all of the opponent? Why does Rish Lakish agree that it's a chetz? Why is it not like your arrow? Ramesh's point that an arrow goes because of your strength. You're the one who made it through. You threw it. But the fire goes not because of your koach, like you have to have the wind that's helping it, the koach hacham murbo. So it's not called your arrow. Even after the Torah says that you chai for your fire, it isn't just saying that even though it's koach hacham murbo, it's still kocho. It's saying that it's a new mazik. It's not called your kocho. So what's it going to be called? Your doesn't Rabbi Yochanan hold of a shlakish? At this point, the Gemara is saying that Rabbi Yochanan does not hold that it's your mammon. You only chayv because you threw it, not because it's your property. Rabbi Yochanan, my time with Lakish, why doesn't he agree that it's mammon? Mamona is by mamasha, all is by mamasha. All property has substance to it, but this doesn't have any substance. So a fire can't be called your money because it doesn't have any substance. It's not a actual real thing. I mean, of course it's real, but it's not substance. Call it substance. Any other word you want to use? It doesn't mean it's not real. It means it doesn't have substance. You could say it's not tangible, maybe. I don't know what you want to say. If you go to scientific, what is a fire? It's all the atoms that are moving very fast. But we'll leave it at that. The Gemara calls it that it has no substance. That's the reason why it doesn't want to call it your property. But you are, thank you so much. You're chayiv for because it's you, because you threw it. So that's a basic machlokes. What is the agdara of the mazik called fire? Is it because it's your arrow or it's because your property? Okay, so we finished the machlokes. Now we're going to open up the shas in order to find the first place is our Mishnah. We have in our Mishnah, etc. The whole Mishnah. What does it say? That the dog took a cookie that had a coal on it, and he burnt the gadish, and it's chayiv chatzin nezek. So how can you explain the Mishnah? Where's the chatzin nezek? We know that we introduced that the only chatzin nezek we know are about Karen and about Tzroros. That's not Karen over here. Everything's normal, so it must be Tzroros. Where's the Tzroros? Where do you have a Tzroros over here? By the dog making a fire. So Yochanan is great. If you consider it kocho, when a person throws something, there's no difference. No chatzin nezek. It's chayiv throwing. But when an animal throws something, there's a difference. There's a leniency, like the back of started saying, that it's shorus. So it's very nice. Adrabah, Rabbi Yochanan is on the good side. He's on the upper hand. He says the mission makes a lot of sense. The reason why the chayiv chatzin nezek for the fire that the dog made is because the dog threw a fire. Why? How do you throw a fire? Every fire is called throwing a fire. When a man makes a fire, he threw the fire like his arrow. And when a dog makes a fire, so the dog threw a shot an arrow. If a dog shoots an arrow, is he chayiv chatzin nezek? Yes, because it's shroros. So everything's very nice.
So by the dog, it's by the man,
it's also called shroros. But if a man throws it shroros, he's chayiv nezek shalom. But it makes sense. The Mishnah says chatzin nezek. It's his dog's arrows, and it's chayiv for his dog's arrows.
Where the coal fell, the straw that had burned right there wouldn't be Tzroros, right?
Why not?
Because the dog was directly on it, and that would be.
He said it placed it on it. It's holding it in his mouth, and it placed it on him. So then it wouldn't be Tzroros. But then the fire continues going, that's going to be Tzroros.
So that wouldn't be Tzroros. That'd be what we call that whatever.
I don't know. When the dog does that, he did it directly. Maybe it's called regular. It'll be called regular. It'll be called regular because he's dead.
Then on
the rest of the fire, the rest of the gadish, the rest of the haystack is going to be Tzroros. Okay. You said something that is going to help us in a second.
Let's say the dog puts it on the shirt, then it goes further, but he's still only half on the shirt.
So how did he put it onto the shirt? He
put his mouth.
Okay, but then the rest of the place where he went on,
right,
that'll be direct. But the rest of the shirt that burnt, that was also spreading.
Right.
That does make it so the rest of the shirt is only going to be chatzin nezek. He threw arrows to the rest of the shirt.
But once he makes the hole in the shirt,
the shirt is worthless already. Okay, if the shirt is worthless from the first thing, then you're right. But when you have the same scenario by the kash, by the straw, so then one straw, that straw burnt, and the other one. So the more is happy with the Rabbi Yochanan. If you hold that, it's not called your arrow, it's only called your property. So it's not the property of the bala kelab, it's the property of the kelab, so to speak. According to Rish Lakish, the fire is not called an arrow. So when a dog makes a fire, so you can't talk about the dog's straws. It wasn't straws. So it's only the dog's property, so to speak. You're not high for your dog's property. You're only high for your own property. So the more is asking that you shouldn't be high of anything.
You shouldn't be high, and if it's Rish
Lakish, you shouldn't be high for your dog making a fire. You're high for your dog came and chained regularly. You're not high for your dog's fire. So if it will be,
and you wouldn't be high for your cotton's fire either.
I thought that is another point. You're not high of anything. You're not high of anything for your cotton. And we spoke about if you're supposed to anyway take the bill. But that's a different point. But you put there for your katan. That's to be a mission later on. But for your animal, you are chayiv. But what are you chayiv by kelev? Keren and regular. But you're not chayiv for your dog's fire. According to Rabbi Yochanan, you're chayiv for your dog's stroros. It's another way of stroros. It's not a way of kicking a stone. So he made a fire. But according to Rish Lakish, it's not good that he threw a stone. So you're not chayiv for your dog's fire. The case is that he threw the coal, not that he placed the coal down. He has to get a case of Chatzi Nezek. So he says, like, to tell you the case is that he threw the coal. Like Rabbi Yaakov said, if you talk about the placement of coal landed, so you could talk about if he threw the coal, so then it's going to be tzroros. If you place the coal down, then it's Nezek Shalem on the place mamish where the coal landed. So the case is that he threw the coal. So now I got to Rish Lakish invented a case of tzroros, even by fire. The fire that continues going, that's not called tzroros. That's not called his doing. But the place that it landed, the coal was a live coal. The place that it landed, so he threw it. That's called that he threw it. So that's going to be Chatzi Nezek.
On the place.
On that place. And then the very limited. And that the Mishnah says on the Kodesh is Chatzi Nezek. Rabbi Yochanan is probably looking at Rish Lakish. You want to say that only that spot over there is Chatzi Nezek, the rest of it is Potter? So Rish Lakish says yes.
The Gemara always is very precise, no?
No, but it says that's not so precise. It says on the Kodesh is Chatzi Nezek. It sounds like the whole Kodesh is. It's not only the place. The rest of the Kodesh is Potter. So it could be, but Rabbi Yochanan probably has this one. Sounds like me. But anyway, Rish Lakish says that. So in the case that he threw it, that's partial. That for sure for the cookie he placed that's regular shame. That's not the point. On the place where the gechelis landed, it's Chatzi Nezek because that's Stroros, even according to Rish Lakish. And the rest of the Kodesh, the Kodesh Kula Potter. For the rest of these Potter, because it's not my dog's Stroros, it's my dog's fire. I'm not chayv my dog's fire. That's how Rish Lakish is going to learn the Mishnah. The Gemara goes back to Rabbi Yochanan. It's true. Rabbi Yochanan said that the whole thing is going to be Chatzi Nezek, but he has to explain the whole Mishnah. So the Gemara explains how Rabbi Yochanan is going to learn the Mishnah. Rabbi Yochanan Dan Chanuche. Rabbi Yochanan doesn't have to say that he threw the coal. He placed the coal down, and on that place where he placed it down, it will be an Nezek Shalem for that one spot. The spot that Rish Lakish makes Chatzi Nezek was he threw the coal, which Rabbi Yochanan could say that he placed it down, and if there's Nezek Shalem, that's going to be called regal probably. And the rest of the Godesh that got burned down, that's called the chitzim. That's the arrows of the dog, and it's going to be Chatzi Nezek. Could Rabbi Yochanan have said that he threw it also? He threw the coal and then the fire went further?
Could who say? Rabbi Yochanan?
Could Rabbi Yochanan have said that? The Gemara says Rabbi Yochanan will learn that he placed it down. The Gemara could have also said maybe he threw it just like Rish Lakish says. Rish Lakish says it's only Chatzi Nezek on the first part and the rest is Potter. And Rabbi Yochanan will say that it's arrows and arrows again. He threw the coal, so the first place is going to be Chatzi Nezek, and the rest of it is also another arrow. So Taisus point talks about it, and he goes into the sugi we had before about kocho. The Gemara spoke about kocho like a second reaction, a double. So there, the Gemara spoke about sumchas. Sumchas holds that kocho is chayiv nezek shalem, but maybe kocho not. Over there, some Rishonim say that since the Gemara doesn't talk about the Rabbanon, so there's no difference kocho and kocho. But Taisus over here, Taisus over here says that there is a difference. Taisus says that kocho would be, but even according to Rabbanon. That's why the Gemara to say that he placed it down. Because if it would have been, it would be put to the little places over here, and they bring about it.
No, but everybody agreed there's no such thing as revel. Right?
As far as Mishuna with Karen, that was right. Nobody said that, right? I don't think so.
So it's either nothing.
Right. Here, Taisus says, Rabbi Yochanan, this Taisus with Rabbi Yochanan. The more I didn't want to say Rabbi Yochanan that he threw the coal. And he's chayv Chatzi Nezek both for the place of the coal and for the rest of the Kodesh. The kochol after kochol dami yav kol shal Kodesh Potter. He goes back to the sugi before that maybe kochol is not the same as kochol and therefore he wouldn't be chayv, which is a machlokes rishon. Okay, but Taisus says that the more here is mashma like that. Okay, so what do we have? So we finished our Mishnah really as far as we wanted. We finished already. We brought in the sugi because of our Mishnah. How do you say Chatzi Nezek on the Kodesh? So we said it depends if you hold Tzroros. So then he is chayv for the whole Kodesh. According to Yochanan and according to Rish Lakish, only you have to say cases talking about that he threw it, and on the place where it landed, that's going to be Chatzi Nezek. The rest of it is Takapata. But once we're in the sugya, we're going to continue with the sugya now, and it's going to go on for a while. Is very interesting sugya. Is Mishum Chitza, Mishum Mono. Tashma. It's going to be a similar raya. Are you chayiv for, with the Mordechai is saying, are you chayiv for the fire of your door? Achlokas. According to Rabbi Yochanan, yes. According to Rish Lakish, not. According to Rabbi Yochanan, but they're not worse than being in a similar case that says about the fire of your camel. Your camel made a fire. What's the case? Tashma, camel ton pishtan, Bava Kamma. Camel was loaded up with flax, and it was very flammable, and it was passing in Rosh Hashanah, and it was overloaded with pishtan. Nechnasa pishtan was chanus, and the
So
pishtan.
clear was overloaded?
What?
Was it overloaded or just
In the way
was there like a bad thing was overloaded?
yeah, he's responsible to make sure that his pishtan doesn't go into somebody's store.
There's a certain amount that you're allowed to have, or just
Yeah,
responsible?
I think that it's responsible. You're not allowed to go into somebody. Your Pishna is not allowed to go into somebody's
it's not
store.
the-
Or if it does, he has to make sure it doesn't get on
It's
fire.
not
But he's
that
responsible.
overloaded for the camel. It's
Yeah, I didn't mean
sticking
that.
out.
Yeah, I meant
I
yeah.
just want that.
I didn't. I didn't mean
The
that.
picture they have here is that it's going up like, very high.
That's because of a few more coming up soon. But still, for the point is that it went into the chanus, right?
Put it on and
Like the
stick it
garbage trucks.
past the,
You know, I could think of application.
with the animal.
I could think of application. If you have a car and you put on the hood, you put on too much to the sides.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
I don't know. That would probably depend on the law. Okay, pick
Yeah,
off
but
the
no,
subject.
but also over there, it's going to be the cars are all other mazik because it's not the animal, it's you. Yeah, the driver. When the driver is driving a car and he bumps into something, we don't say that it's like his animal.
Well, it's kosher.
It's koich mamish. It's him.
Yeah.
So he's chayiv mamish. So in that case, if he did something sticking out or running with his hands out or running with his car that's out, so other mamish, it's chayiv full damages.
Do we have anything where you give a kid something to hide, to hold, and you give a kid a baby carriage and you put a if the kid's walking a baby carriage and has sticks, it has an umbrella.
But
It has an umbrella sticking out and pokes someone.
So I don't know if that's much said the whole time. You're not chayiv for your child like you're chayiv for
It's
your
not
animal.
bar either. That would clear. Okay, fine. Don't
Yeah,
the subject. Okay.
Tashma, a camel was loaded with pishtan and it was passing, which is a rabbim, and the pishtan went into somebody's store. And there was a flame over there, like everybody has flames, like not like that. Nowadays we have lights, but he had the flame on, and the flammable pishtan caught on fire. V'dalku b'nei Rosh Hashanah caught on fire, and now he looked at Sabira, and the whole building went on fire. So who's responsible? The Bava Kamma, because he put the pishtan in a way that it's going to get on fire. He's the one who's negligent. The Bava Kamma didn't do anything. He's allowed to have a fire in his store. Bava Kamma chayiv.
The store felt on fire or some other thing?
The rest of the building and everybody's, and not just the store is coming, right? How about if the storekeeper was negligent by putting out his nair outside? I don't know if this is not relevant to us right now. If he left his candle outside, so then because you shouldn't have put your candle outside. You're the negligent one. The camels are allowed to pass by with their pishtan. You're not allowed to have a candle outside. And of course, because of Kavod Chanukah, if you put your Chanukah outside, then you're okay. Because you're allowed to put your Chanukah outside, so you're not negligent. And then probably the camels have to watch out on Chanukah.
There's one of the riots you have to light outside. You don't need
that's Beferish. This is one of the rights the Gemara brings. Maybe you have to light less than 10 tefachim. Here the Gemara talks that how come you have to light Ner Chanukah? Who told you to put it so low down that the camel's pishon can get on fire? Maybe put it up high, above the camel. And that the Gemara says that. And therefore the Gemara says you're supposed to put it within 10 tefachim. The Gemara doesn't see any reason to put it low down. Only if there's an need to put it within 10 tefachim. And the Gemara is matchel raya over there that even though your light's kosher, it's even like chatchila maybe, but we're not going to tell you to put it dafka so high because it's too hard. So the Gemara is matchel raya. It's too hard to get the candle so high up. Right. You're going to have to put it. All the stores are going to have to put their candles above the kamel. It's going to be a big asik. So they didn't make it high, but maybe there's no Indian maybe to put it less than 10 tefachim. But it does say in Shulchan Aruch based on that Gemara that it is better to put it within 10 tefachim of the ground, which people try to do if you could. If not, it's kosher also above. So anyway, what does the Gemara want to say? He says the camel is high for the fire. If you overloaded your camel in a way that the pishtan went into the store, so you're high for the fire, but you don't make the fire. The camel made the fire. So you chayiv, same thing as before. You chayiv for your animal's fire. According to Rabbi Yochanan, you chayiv for your camel's fire because it's roros of the gumel. But according to Rish Lakish, it's not roros of the gumel. It's the gumel's fire, the gumel's property. I'm not chayiv for my gumel's property. I'm only chayiv for my own property. So it's similar to before. Bishlam madam of the gumel. Like Rabbi Yochanan is called your camel's arrow. So you chayiv for that, like roros, chatzi nezek. It'll be chatzi nezek. You have to say right away, chatzi nezek. that you have to throw in that when it says before the Bal Gamal Chayv, it's in the Chayv Natsi Nezi. Elo Madam Mamono, High H Lamamono the Bal Gamalu. But if only it's not considered your chitzim, it's only your property. But this is not the property of the camel owner, it's the property of the camel. You're not Chayv for your camel's property. So the answer can be similar to before. What did we say? What did Shlokish do before? He said that it was on contact. It wasn't the fire spreading. It was the coal to the first place that it landed. And you want to get a chatzinezik or nezik shalom, whatever, but that's going to be the chiyuv of the owner is going to be when the gamal had contact. And that's the answer over here also. The word misachsech means to singe. That means that it was a contact, not the fact that the fire spread. The fire spreading is not my business. I'm not chayiv for my camel making a fire, but I am chayiv for my camel that has a hot load on its back and pressing against the wall, it singed the wall. So the place where it singed the wall, that's the place that I'm chayiv for. If the fire spread more than that, I'm not chayiv for. And that's the big picture over there that you said, that it's connected the whole bira, that the piston was loaded up. Only what singed the wall opposite the package. The package itself had contact. If it would only be a small package, then he's only chayiv for that part. And to be chayiv for the whole bira is only because the package was as big as the building. The end of the crisis said that if the Chenveni was negligent by putting his fire outside, then he's chayiv. And the more wonders why should he be chayiv? If the gamal was mazik with making a fire, then we understand that the balach chanus, he's the one who's responsible. If he caused the fire. But if it's misachseches, so then the more wants that he shouldn't be chayiv. He shouldn't be chayiv. That the balach gamal should be chayiv. Taisus explains it doesn't mean that the gamal should be chayiv by himself. Why should the balach chanus not be chayiv? He put out he's the one who caused the whole problem. He put his nair outside, negligent, putting a candle outside. That's why he caught on fire. So what's the Gemara want? The Gemara wants that if it's musachseches, so then the chenveni shouldn't be chayiv. Taisus says it doesn't mean shouldn't be chayiv. It means he shouldn't be chayiv by himself. Amai chayiv by himself. He should be. The gamal also is a shutif. So Taisus explains that the bala gamal should have taken the gamal away. If you only be chayiv, there's a chiddush over here that a person, even though he didn't do anything wrong initially, but if his animal became a damager in the middle of the scene, he also is responsible to take him away. The camel is not walking by itself. The camel has a camel driver. The owner is there. And if the point is the fire that spread on the whole thing, and he wasn't responsible for that because the candle is not supposed to be here, so everything falls onto the balach hanus. Why do you put the candle outside? But if the chiv is the gamal, we're talking about the mesachseches, that it was rubbing against the wall with the fire, so then the balach gamal should have to take the gamal away before it damages. And if he didn't, so then at least he's a shutaf. He's an accomplice in the damage. The answer is Bishamda. The Rashi says that the Gemara is saying a terrorist, which doesn't make sense yet, but the Gemara is going to jump on it before it gives it a chance to talk. But we'll take it the way the Gemara does. The case is that the Gamal stood. It didn't move around. It stood. Here's Rashi says, if it was moving around, then you could say that the package was not as big as the whole building. Just he moved it around, he walked around, and that's how he got the whole building. But here, at this point, Bishamda, here you must say that the package of a piston was as big as the building, and it's not budging. And that now we have a terrace for the Bala Gomel that he couldn't move his Gomel. So the Rabbi Gemara says, why not? It's standing, so move it away. There's more reason that he should be chayiv because the Bala Gomel, why did he move your Gomel away? The Gomel's there, there's fire on his back, and it's rubbing against the wall. So move it. The answer is the Gemara didn't have a chance to talk yet. And it meant Bishamda, which made the Ravika, that it started urinating. And once the camel starts urinating, he can't budge it. The owner is not strong enough to budge the camel when it's urinating. So there's an onus. He has no choice. So if it would have been his problem that he loaded up the pishtan too much, so he's responsible because you have to know that your camel sometimes is going to get on fire if you overload it, and then it's not going to be able to move because it's urinating. So you're responsible for the whole thing. But if you had no responsibility in the initial fire, that was the Baal Chanus's fault, that he brought the fire outside. So then you want me to move away the camel? I can't move away the camel right now because it was urinating. So we have a pshat. And the Gemara explains this now. Reisha, where was his fault? Al Gamal Chayiv Betina. The Reisha, where the camel was overloaded and the Krishna went into the store, it's his fault, and he should have thought about all this possibility that he's not going to be able to move the camel away when it gets on fire. But Sefer Chemini Chai, and the Sefer the Chemini, the one who's Chai, is because he shouldn't have put the candle outside, and therefore, and you can't have a taina on the Bava Kamma because he couldn't move his camel after it got on fire. So the Gemara answers the kashas. So Kitzur again, Rabbi Yochanan holds you are Chai for your camel's fire. Rabbi Shlakish holds you not. You only get it because it's not considered your chitzim. The only thing is going to be considered the actual contact of the package that's loaded. That's going to be a kind of a regular if the fire is directly burning something, not because of throw. It's only because it's rubbing against, it's touching the wall. So everybody got out of it. But once again, there's a machlokas going on. According to Rabbi Yochanan, you hire for your gummel, for your animal's fire. According to Shlakish Patel. Tashma. Just the introduction to the sugya. The sugya is going to be also fascinating. Is a person chayiv misa for killing somebody with a fire? He made a fire, and the fire killed a person. Is he chayiv misa? It's like he shot an arrow at him. So it's mamish big sugyas over here. That according to Rabbi Yochanan, a person who made a fire and somebody died because of the fire, he's chayiv misa. Of course, if he did it intentionally, if he did it unintentionally, so then it will be like a chiv misa b'shogeg. But it's considered that he shot an arrow. According to Rabbi Shlokish, he didn't shoot an arrow. It's just his property that damaged. Of course, his ox that damages, that kills, is also a serious thing. But it's not like he damaged himself. See, that's what the Gemara is going to bring you. The Gemara is going to see an issue if a person's chayiv misa, capital punishment for his fire killing a person. Toshma, Hamada Kazagodesh, Vayu Gdi Kafaslo, Vevet Samuchlo, Venisafimo Chayiv. It talks about, besides the Gadish that got burnt up, a person lit a Gadish, he put it on fire. And the haystack, the wheat stack, whatever got burned. But it also talks about a Gedi and an Eved. A Gedi is a goat, and an Eved is a human being, but he's an Eved. Why does it talk about an Eved? I'm not sure, any human being, but that's probably the norm that would be. So I'll learn Rashi, I'll say Rashi's shot. There's some kashas on it, but just to get through the Gemara simply, we'll learn like Rashi. Human being naturally runs away from a fire. Gedi does not. Goat does not. I don't know if that seems to say differently, and I would imagine that the Pasha says that animals also run away from danger. Like the Mesilas Shalom says, that a person is not a zohir is worse than animals. That an animal also has enough seichel to run away from damages. So Rashi goes into sugya because of the words. Rashi says that animals don't have enough seichel to run away from fire. So if someone made a fire,
It's talking about some animals.
I thought that maybe when we're talking about a coal, I thought like if somebody puts a coal on an animal.
here's a case of fire. There's a godish that's burning. There's a burning godish, a burning haystack.
So we know that animals flee. So
Right. So Tais says a pshat to fit into the Gemara, a little bit more complicated in the words. So just for simplicity's sake, if we can learn Rashi's pshat, even though it seems difficult. Rashi says that an animal does not have seichel to run away, which is difficult in the difficulty in the words either way. Just to keep to the subject about Eshem Mishum Chitza. The point we want to know.
The way I justify Rashi is like if it were coal or something.
But it's not the case. That's not the case. Not the case. So Rashi, I don't know what to say. And the other kashas also on Rashi that don't fit into the Brisa so well. Taisus has a little bit more complicated shot. So just for simplicity, just because of simplicity alone, I would present Rashi and just to point out there are difficulties. One of them being that it doesn't seem to be the Messias. But the point that the Gemara wants to be is there a case when it's chayiv misa for killing the Eved? He made a fire. The Eved is the point. The Eved is a human being. It's chayiv misa for killing an Eved. And if there's a chayiv misa on killing the Eved, then it's a klal called kamle b'drab minei, that if a person did an act that incurred on him both a death penalty and also a monetary obligation, so he doesn't get both. He only gets chayiv misa and not doesn't have to pay for the money. And even if it was b'shogeg, in the case it's not going to be chayiv misa, like the case here is not didn't do it intentionally, but b'shogeg chayiv misa shogeg b'turin, that even if it was a shogeg, the chayiv misa also doesn't pay the money. So here the case was he made a fire and it burnt the gadish, it burnt the gedi, it burnt the eved, and the question is he going to be chayiv to pay for the monetary damage that he did? Is the aptov kamri b'drabi because he killed a person, and by killing a person he incurred upon himself a death penalty, even though he's not going to be chayiv misa because he didn't do it intentionally, but that's enough to pater him from the monetary obligation. So here it says gedi kafaslo ve'eved samuchlo v'nisafim chayiv. If the eved was not bound, he was not tied up. The word gedi kafas means there's a goat that was tied up, and he couldn't run away. Rashi says lav dafka because the goat doesn't have safe to run away, even if he would not be tied up. Rashi has to say in a second that the goat doesn't have seichel. So at this point, he has to say the Gemara's lav dafka. It could have even been that the gedi was not tied up, and he has to pay for the goat. And the evet samachlo, the evet was not tied up, and he didn't run away. And this is where the Gemara says that he's not chayiv misa for killing the evet because the evet should have run away. So therefore, chayiv. He's chayiv to pay for the gadish. He's chayiv to pay for the gedi because there's no Torah of kamel v'rav mineh, because there's no chayiv misa for killing the evet because it's the evet's own fault. He didn't run away. But evet kafus lo. But if the evet was tied up, that's really what the Gemara wants. In this case, the evet is tied up. Gedi samuchlo. Rashi says on the gedi samuchlo that the gedi was not tied up. Rashi says there's no difference. It would have been chayiv money for the gedi, even if it wouldn't have been tied up, because the gedi doesn't have sense to run away. But he's potter because he's a chayiv misa because of the evet. A kitzah, all we wanted from the brisa is that if the evet was tied up and someone made a fire and killed him, that's called the chayiv misa. He's death penalty. It could be he's not going to be chayiv misa because it was b'shogeg, but he killed a person. He killed a person, and therefore come to Rav Mineh on everything else, on the Kodesh and the Gedi. And the kash is going to be, why is it chayiv misa for killing the person? He didn't kill the person. He didn't throw an arrow. One of Yochanan is good. He threw an arrow, but according to Rish Lakish, he didn't throw an arrow. His fire, his property killed somebody. He didn't kill anybody, and there's no Torah of Kimmel Rav Mineh when your property kills somebody. That's why he's potter for the damage, monetary damage, because he's chayiv misa for killing the evet. On my potter. Whereas there come if his animal kills somebody, so his fire kills somebody. If his ox would have killed an evet, would he not be chayiv for the monetary damage that he incurred on himself? It means it's very roundabout to talk about. When it says potter, it means he's chayiv misa. When it says chayiv, it means that he's potter because he is chayiv misa. The wording is the opposite of what we would have expected, because it's talking about kamei b'rav minei. So when he's chayiv misa for killing, so then he's potter for the money. When he's potter for misa, then he's chayiv for the money. But that's what the Gemara is dealing with. That if you say eshem mishum chisa, so a person's chayiv misa for making a fire which killed, because like he shot an arrow, and therefore he's going to be potter for any kind of monetary obligation that was incurred at that act. But if you hold Esho is not chitzav, like Rish Lakish, so a person is not chayiv for making a fire that killed somebody, because it's like his act killed somebody. So that's the most kashi. Here is mashma that the owner is chayiv misa for killing the evet. The one who made the fire is chayiv misa for killing the evet because it's considered chitzim. That's the most kashi. What's Rish Lakish going to do? So for all the kashas are against Rish Lakish. Well, everything sounds like it's chitzim. Once again, a similar teretz that it's only considered that he did it if he ignited the body directly, not that he made a fire and then the fire spread. The fire spreading is not considered chitzim. But if he took the fire, he ignited, he burnt them. How did he do it? He burnt the evet. He burnt the evet mamish. Not that he burnt the field and then the field hit like a sagadish. You have to say more. Hit like a sagadish, hit like a evet. That he mamish burnt the eggs. He burnt them out of stake. He put the fire on them. So then he's chayiv misa, and then it's going to be potter because kamei b'rav minei. Okay, what's the chiddush then? Yachim alam, but that's not chiddush. That he's chayiv misa for killing the evet and kamei b'rav minei. But it's richa b'gli dechad be'evet dechad. So Gemara says no chiddush. The Gemara throws in a chiddush that you don't see in the words at all. It's just a kind of a chiddush that if there's no chiddush, you have to make a chiddush. You have to say something. There must be a chiddush. The kamei b'rav minei applies even if they're two different people. That if the evet belongs to one person and the gedi belongs to somebody else, you might say kamei b'rav minei is only when it's the same owner. The same owner, the one who incurred the death penalty because of him, also has money. He shot a bullet at somebody and he killed him, and he also tore a shirt. He doesn't have to pay for the shirt, the suit, the yarshim, because that act. But if it be two people, he's wearing somebody else's shirt, or the bullet they went through somebody's laundry hanging, and then it killed somebody. There's somebody else, not the owner of the laundry. So maybe you have to pay. Says no, that kamei b'rav minei is even two different people. The chiv misa and the and Tais talks about is that's true. Another place here, our Gemara seems to say that kamei b'rav minei
belonged to somebody,
right,
because he killed the.
right. So yes, what's coming out of all this? The chidushim v'shlok holds that the person's chayiv for his animal's fire and a person's chayiv misa for his fire if he killed a human being. Toshma. Now this we had already a long time ago, Daftes, and we're chazering it over again. The one talks about there's a brisa that says, that's a mission later on. There's a brisa before, I think, yeah, that says, I think maybe I'm wrong. But there's something at the Aftes and the afternoon test is coming up. Over there it says Chomer b'Shor and Bor more than Eish. There's a case that Shor and Bor have something more than Eish doesn't have. Not about
More than Aish.
more than Eish. There's a case that Shor and Bor is going to be Chayiv and Eish is going to be Potter. It talks about giving it over to a Chereshot of a Katan. If you gave over you gave over a Shor to a Chereshot of a Katan and it damaged, so you're responsible. But if you gave over a fire to a Chereshot of a Katan, so you're Potter. That's what it says, and then the one wants to know what the difference is. Hashalech hasa be'era. Be'era means a fire. Someone sent a fire. If someone sent a fire with a Chereshot of a Katan, the irresponsible child, Chereshot that doesn't have sense, doesn't have seichel. So in Bezdin, you can't be Mechayev. Potem Medina Adam. Chai Medina Shemayim is not our business. That means in heaven, they're going to say, why did you pay for it? In heavenly court, they're not going to say you didn't have to pay. But the Bezdin doesn't force him to pay. That's not our subject. Why he has to pay, that he has to pay in Shemayim, but he's Potter. In Bezdin, he's Potter. And also it says over there that for Shor and Bor is Chayiv. That if he gave over a Shor or a Bor to a Chereshot of a Katan, he's Chayiv. And the Gemara wants to know why should it be Potter. We had the sugi before, and well, everybody probably will recall. Once it says the words, it'll be recalled. But here the Gemara is saying a new point that we didn't have over there. That is there, we can understand the reason why someone's going to be Potter for giving a fire to a Chereshot of a Katan, even though for a Shor and a Bor is Chayiv.
This isn't the case where it was the coal that wasn't flame on.
Yeah, very good. That's what the Gemara's going to talk about.
So that it was contained, or it would have gone out.
Right. So you know the Gemara, and that the Gemara doesn't know yet. This Gemara doesn't know that yet, and the Gemara is a new reason why you should put the phrase of a Chereshot of a Katan, because if it's an arrow, Rabbi Yochanan's happy with all these Gemaras. Rabbi Yochanan says a fire is an arrow. So if someone gave an arrow to a Chereshot of a Katan, but the Chereshot of a Katan needs someone who shot the arrow. So you can't blame. I mean, B'dinei Shamayim, you could. He did a bad thing. He gave an arrow to a Chereshot of a Katan, but Lamaisa, the Chereshot of a Katan is the one who did it. So you can't be Mechayiv the person who gave it the arrow. So the Gemara is happy. If you hold that Eishem Mishum Chitza, the reason why you Potter on the fire of a Chereshot of a Katan is because he did it. It's a Kocho. He did it. He threw the arrow. Bishlam the Amma Eishem Mishum Chitza, Chitzav the Chereshu. According to Rabbi Yochanan, that fire is considered an arrow, so it's the Cheresh's arrow. So you're not Chayiv. Maybe within a Shemayim, but not within the Adam. You didn't shoot it, he shot it. But if you hold like Rish Lakish, so you're responsible to watch the fire. It's your fire. And now you didn't watch it. In the same way, you're chayiv for giving over a Shor or Bor to a Chereshot of a Katan because you can't watch it. So you should be chayiv for giving over a fire to a Chereshot of a Katan. If you gave over your Shor or Bor to a Chereshot of a Katan, you're not going to be chayiv. That's the kasha. And it says Perish over there.
Of course, he
would be chayiv, and it happens to be it says Perish over there chayiv. You're chayiv for giving over a Shor Bor, and you're not chayiv for a fire. What's the difference? And now we come back to the sugya back we had once before, but first the Gemara had
This is the Kasha and Resh Lakish.
Kash Resh Lakish. According to Rabbi Yochanan, he doesn't have the whole problem. The reason why fire is better means that you Potter because the Chereshot of a Katan they shot an arrow. So it's true. I shouldn't have given an arrow. Don't give an arrow to a Chereshot of a Katan, because they might shoot it. And don't give a fire to a Chereshot of a Katan, they might shoot it. But if they do shoot it, you can't say that I shot it. So that's the reason why he's more Potter than by the Shor and the Bor. Shor and the Bor is his mama. But Rabbi Yochanan before said that the fire is not your mama, it's not substance, it doesn't have any substance. He doesn't consider it your mama. So it's only because it's your chaytz. So it's not my chaytz, it's not my mama. So that's why Rabbi Yochanan will be good. But Rish Lakish is difficult. And now the Gemara goes back to what Rabbi Yaakov said. The Gemara says reasons why it's not considered so much a mazik when you give a fire to a Chereshot of a Katan as when you give them a Shor and a Bor. Hitmal is the answer. Hitmal is the answer. Hitmal Allah, Resh Lakish, which made the Chizkura, Lo Shanu Velak Shemaslo, Bechelas Veliba. The case of Potter is when he gave him only a coal and he bellowed it. Is that the word? Liba, to bellow the fire until it became a fire. So I gave him something which is tame. But a Shor and a Bor is that it wasn't tame because Shor darker than 2K, Bor darker than 2A, that a Shor is not contained. Even if it has some kind of a shmira, it's not enough of a shmira, and it's going to jump out. It's not contained. But the fire is contained. My time of Bari Azeka. The Gemara doesn't need all this. This is already going further into the sugya. For that sugya, that you Potter because it was contained. You gave him a gechelas and the Shor and the Chereshot of a Katan is the one who inflamed it. If we would have given him a flame, then Taka would be chayiv because Because it's
He's
your
created-
because it's your
like a
money
board.
because it's your money like a board. It's your property.
Zeka sounds like it was created.
Bari
to-
Zeka, no. Bari Zeka means it's a definite has a definite mazik. The mazik
What?
is definite, like Bari V'Shema kind of thing. Not
What does
Bari.
Bari mean?
Bari means definite.
Oh,
Bari V'Shema. There's a series like that. Bari means that it's definite and has so it's already a mazik.
definite.
It's a definite mazik, like a shore. A shore is a definite mazik. A bar is a definite mazik. A shalevis is a definite mazik. So you gave him a definite mazik, so it's your property, and you didn't watch it, so you're chayiv. Same way you're chayiv for giving a shore and a bar to a katan. You're chayiv for giving a eish to a katan. But you gave him a gachelis, so then it was not yet a mazik. So that's why you're
That's
not
how he
chayiv.
explains that Mishnah.
Right, and therefore it has nothing to do with chitzim. Not because it's chitzim, it's not chitzim. But if you gave him a gechelis, which is not omer to be mazik, you're not chayiv. The Gemara continues with Rabbi Yochanan. We'll learn Rashi's job, which is nice at this point to the Gemara. It's not going to be so easy in the Hemshah and the continuation of the Gemara, but here it's nice, so it's hard to resist. Rabbi Yochanan, afilu shel his potter, even if you gave him a flaming potter, why? Because that's what he's saying, that it's chitzim. Because he holds that Rashi says it means the companionship of the cherish, means to put the cherish together with the fire. That's what caused the fire. So Rashi combination, right?
Fire
And the cherish caused the fire. So Rashi learns. I don't know the words, but Rashi learns that it means, like I said before, that he holds chitzim. That the cherish is the one who shot it. So even if I gave him a full-fledged fire, I shall have it. It's ready to go. But the cherish is the one who did it. As Rashi over here. We'll come back to this. Rabbi Yochanan Tamei, the Amar, Eisha Mishum Chitza, Vach Chitza of the Chereshain. The reason why Rabbi Yochanan holds your potter, even by a flame, is because he shot the arrow. The Cheresh shot the arrow. So even though I gave him a full-fledged fire, but he's the one who shot it. So therefore,
the combination sounds like it's a terrible combination.
right,
Fire
but
and Cheresh sounds like it'll make damage.
right, but he's the one who
Why
did
is
it. He's the one who did it. The Cheresh is the one who did it. The
The
fact
fire
that
alone wouldn't have done it.
okay,
Is that what you're saying?
yeah, I didn't
Even with
shoot
the
the arrow.
flame, like if you have a campfire, it's not going to make a problem. Is that what Rabbi Yochanan is saying?
I'm giving it over to the shot to the.
No, if I just had it by itself, without the stuff. So
I'm not sure. It could be that I would have gone out. It would have
it
been.
might have gone out by
I
itself.
would have gone. I don't mean extinguished. It would have
It
continued.
may have traveled.
Would have traveled, but
Yeah,
now he's the one. The Cheresh is the one who shot the arrow, who shot the fire. So therefore, I'm potter. It's very.
Not that it's less dangerous.
Right, not right.
If somebody else shot it.
That's how Rashi wants to learn this way because that's what the Gemara just said. The Gemara said, according to Rabbi Yochanan, you put the Bishlam, the Gemara is happy with Rabbi Yochanan because it's Chitz of the Cheresh. So Rashi wants to put into this Gemara that means the same thing. So it sounds that even though the words mean the companionship, the togetherness, the shidduch between the Cheresh and the fire was what caused it, Rashi learns into the Gemara that it means because he shot it.
I see. If there was only one, then if I made the fire and there was nobody else, then I shot.
And you shot it, but since you gave it
But
to a
since there
Cheresh,
was
so he
two,
shot it.
then
Right.
he shot
And Rashi puts into the Gemara because that's what the gist of the Gemara is. The words maybe are a little bit difficult. The Gemara doesn't say those words. And Taisus will have a problem at the end of the sugi. We'll mention Taisus' problem. But Rabbi Yochanan continues, the only chayiv, the owner, the person that gave the fire, is only chayiv if he gave him the wood, the twigs, and the flame. That's mamish
Wood, the twigs, and the
flame. That means that's more than a shalhabis. That means that things that are going to continue the fire, the fuel for the fire, what would we call it now? The lighter fluid. He gave him the fire with the lighter fluid and everything he needs.
The fuel, the kindling wood, and flame.
Yeah, and everything's ready to go. So then it's considered you did everything. Even Rabbi Yochanan is going to agree over there. You can't say that the Cheresh did it. Maybe it needs explanation.
If you give all that, agrees.
Right. Now you might ask, why? If you hold it,
why?
then still. So I don't know. But that's considered, Rashi says over here, that he definitely was Posheya. We know he's Posheya. Vade Posheyahu. So I don't know what the answer is exactly.
You just give him as a burning log, a burning stick.
That's what we said. We said Shalevas is potter because Chitz of the Cheresh. Because it's that the Cheresh shot the arrow, which is the fire, and I'm not high for that. B'dinei Adam, we said B'dinei Adam, yes, but talking about B'dinei Shemaim, I'm sorry, B'dinei Shemaim, yes. Talking about B'dinei Adam, so he's not high because he Chitz of the Cheresh. Just to sum up what the Gemara says so far, there were three sugyos. Each time the Gemara is attacking Rish Lakish, and each time he defended himself, but it comes out big nafkaminas. According to Rish Lakish, you're not high for your dog's fire. According to Rabbi Yochanan, you are. It's true, it's chasi nezek, but it's you're high for your dog's fire. your camel's fire, your animal's fire. And also, according to Rab Yochanan, a person's chayiv misa for making a fire which kills somebody, according to Rish Lakish, not. And the third thing is that according to Rabbi Shlokish, according to Rabbi Yochanan, you're not chayiv. He has a kula. You're not chayiv for a cherev for Kotan's fire that you gave over to him because he shot it. According to Shlokish, you are going to be chayiv because it's your property that you have to watch.
Mhm.
You didn't watch it well. Amar Rava. The more continues. Amar Rava. Crow must need some aside with Rabbi Yochanan. Both the pasuk and the brayso are much more like Rabbi Yochanan. That everything's going. Everything is pushing on Rabbi Yochanan's side. All the brayso follow for Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Shlokish answer them, but here he says that the pasuk and the brayso is much like Rabbi Yochanan. Crow, where's the pasuk? The chsiv kisei yesh. The pasuk says, we'll look up the pasuk over here. Okay. He says, so the Gemara talks about that the fire went out. A fire, I say that sounds in English like it got extinguished. I don't mean to say that. But the fire travels, the fire went, and it found thorns, and the Gadish was consumed, or the standing wheat, or the field. So the water made the fire has to pay. So the Gemara takes these two words, Kiseitze and Amavir. The Gemara says, I see from here, which I'm not so clear how the Gemara sees it. Let's see the words. Sorry. It says in the pasuk Kiseitze. What's the word Teitze mean? Teitze means atzma. It's mashma that it went out on its own. It traveled, it left by its own. And the pasuk says, Shalem Yishalem Hamavir Asal, which means that he did it. Shmamino Eishem B'Shem Chitzav. So you see that the fire is considered his arrow. So how do you see? What does the Brisa mean to say? How do you see in this diuk that Eishem B'Shem Chitzav? So
Well, the fire went out, and
Yeah.
it seems like it went out not by somebody,
okay,
but by it. And the fire is what went out, not somebody doing it. And it says the guy has to pay.
of course, everyone else has to pay. The Shlakish will say, of course, he has to pay because it's his property. His shore went out. If it would say, if the shore goes out and damages, the owner has to pay. Wouldn't be a problem.
Wow.
You have to pay. The Shlakish also says you have to pay because he says you have to pay because it's your property that you didn't watch. So that wouldn't be enough to sell Eishim Hashem Chitzav. So Rashi says, Rashi seems to say that the diak is because you made the fire in your property. And it's mashma that you're chayiv as if you made the fire in his property. I would say that's suggest the easy shot, maybe. I'm not sure if it's good, but that it's mashma that you didn't make the fire. It went out. It doesn't say, it talks about the fire. It doesn't talk about you. It doesn't say if you make a fire. It says if a fire goes out. That means that the fire, how did it go out? Me'atzmo, went out on its own. And you're considered that you made the fire. It's considered you made the fire. Hamavir asal be'ira. It doesn't say, like by the shore, it says you have to pay for the shore's damages. It doesn't say that you. It doesn't say you. It says you're the bala bor, you're the bala shore. It doesn't say the bala ish has to say. It says the one who made the fire has to pay. So I think that's might be a pshat in the Gemara's diuk that even though you didn't make the fire, it's called that you made the fire. That means that you're chayav as if you threw it. The Gemara is happy with the diuk and the pasuk, like a Yochanan. It's mashma that the fire is considered your chetz. The Brisa says the same thing that the Gemara said. Just the Gemara says the Brisa says the diuk. Not only does it's not going to be a Brisa which has something else. The Brisa says mamash over the same thing as we said. That the pasuk is mashma Eishem Hashem Chitzav. The Tanya pasuk hakasav ben Izkei Mamono the same ben Izkei Gufo Lamalacha Eishem Hashem Chitzav. The Brisa mamash says the Farish Eishem Hashem Chitzav. And the Gemara says the Brisa says the diuk in the pasuk that a sas of Izkei Mamono. Rashi and Ben Chanan will say that it says Kiseitze Yesh, means it talks about the masik, and then at the end it calls it you did it, you made the fire. That's mashma Eishem Hashem Chitzav. Okay, so far Yochanan seems to be in the lead, and even though Shlokish got out of everything, the last one he didn't get out of. The pasuk and the brayso, mashma, the brayso says first Eishem Hashem Chitzav. We're going to pass like a Yochanan, by the way. We're going to pass in Eishem Hashem Chitzav. Amar Rava, Kasha leila Abaye. Rava said that Abai is the kasha. Here you have Rava quoting Abai. He's not going to argue with him. He's just going to quote Abai's kasha, Abai's teretz. Amar Rava, Abai had a kasha. Kasha leila Abai. Abai had a kasha. Shemandam Eishem Hashem Chitzav. Tamun ve'esh the pater Achman Echem Mishkachas now. We know that Eish has a unique halacha that it's only high for the thing that was expected to be there. Like he's burnt the haystack. Someone had a wallet in the haystack, and he says, "You burned my wallet. Forget about the haystack. You burned my wallet." So he's putter. Taman is putter. Eish is putter on Taman. Something which is hidden and it's not expected to be there, he's putter for. And the more is asking, if you hold the Bishum Chitzim, there shouldn't be such a ptor. If you shot an arrow and you got something that was hidden over there, you're achayim.
Just like you're sure.
And everything else, right? Everything else is chayim. And here the Gemara is saying that Eish, Rabbi Yochanan holds as you. Eish is considered you. Maybe Yaakov even had a kasha. What do you have to have a pasuk for Eish? Is you. So we said a pshat that is a chiddush that is considered you. But once it's considered you, so you threw a rock. The same way you throw a rock, you throw an arrow, you chayiv if you mazik something that you didn't expect to be there. So too, you should be chayiv for Eish, even if it's not expected to be there, even though it's Tamun, you should be chayiv. That's Abai's kasha. Rabbi said over Abai's kasha. He also said over Abai's teretz, v'nichale, and Abai said a teretz to the kasha, only in a certain case. Kigon shenaftal leika lo sechatzer, v'naftal gadeh shalom achmas leika, v'olcha v'dika, v'chatzer acheres. The case would be, when you made the fire, first we'll say the mashal, then we'll say the translation, back to the translation, a fire came and it fell in someone's chatzer, one courtyard, and then the wall fell down, not because of the fire, and the fire went and damaged in another chatzer. The Hasam called lechitzav. In that case, the arrows are over. So I'll just say the pshat and then into the words. If someone shot an arrow, but when he shot the arrow, there was a wall blocking. He was going to just hit the wall. And after he shot the arrow, before it got to the wall fell down. And the arrow did go and was mazik. Is he chayiv?
Really not.
Not, because at the time that he shot it, it was not going to go. It wasn't going to go so far. It was going to stop. So here's the same case. Not the same case. That's the case over here. There was a fire. There was a fire. Either he made it or it was there. There was a fire in his courtyard, but there was a wall, and it's contained. The fire wouldn't have gotten out, and then the wall fell down, not because of the fire. If the wall fell down because of the fire, it's like you shot an arrow, and the arrow knocked down the wall and continued going. So of course it's high for that, because that's all the fire doing. But it fell down not because of the fire. It fell down. A coincidence. And then the fire spread. Then you can't say that it's chitzim. Even it comes out of chiddush now. Even Rabbi Yochanan says that you chai for a fire because it's your arrow. That's only if when you made the fire, or when you were responsible for the fire, the wall was down. But if when you were responsible for the fire, it was contained. So the fact that later on it went, that's not my chitzim. I didn't make the chitz. So I'm only chai because it's my property. And Rabbi Yochanan knows that's not your property. That's why I'm not chayiv for Tamun be'esh. The case that says that the Eish is potter on Tamun is when you made the fire, it was contained. So it's not called your chetz. It's only called your chetz at the time that you made the fire that it could have gone to its destination. But since there was a wall blocking, so it's not chayiv for your chetz. The only chayiv that you should have stopped it after the wall fell down. And that's not called, I didn't shoot the chetz.
Which is the case of Tamun. I understand.
Tamun means that in the haystack there was a wallet.
Yeah.
Usually, if you make a fire, if you had a fire and it went to somebody else's chutzner and it burned down the gadish with the wallet, Rabbi Yochanan will say that you're chayim. Rabbi Yochanan will say that case, a regular case of fire, you're chayim on Tamun because it's your chetz.
Oh, okay. And
The only case you put on Tamun when it's going to be an eish, that's not called chetz. Why?
because there was a wall.
Yes, the case that you put on Tamun is only in a case where there's no chitzim, that your eish is not your arrow. Usually, your eish is your arrow. The case you're going to be put on Tamun is only going to be a case where it's not your arrow. How is it possible to have an arrow fire? It's not your arrow, according to Rabbi Yochanan. That there was a wall at the time that you. At the fire at that time when you shot it,
it wasn't mazik.
it wasn't able to be mazik at the time that you made the fire.
So you're talking about a special kind of a fire.
Right. There's only fire that's not chitzim. Regular fire is chitzim, and this is a protected chetz. It has a shield around the
So
chetz.
this is kind of a
Dochak.
dochak.
And the Gemara is even a bigger. And the Gemara even has a bigger problem that in this case, it's explained so beautifully that it's not chetz. So it shouldn't be a fire at all. I shouldn't be chayiv not only for the wallet, I shouldn't be chayiv for the haystack either. If it's not my chetz, and Rabbi Yochanan said it's not your money either. Before the sugi started off, that it has no substance to it. so you can't call it mammon. Shlakish said it's mammon. Rabbi Yochanan said no, it's not mammon because it's not like a shore and a bore.
Oh, yeah,
It's not mammon, so it's not mammon, and it's not a chaytz either. So then it shouldn't be chayiv for the.
and we know there's
He's chayiv. That's he's potter for tamon. Give me a case where he's chayiv for the golu, he's potter for the tamon. He's chayiv for the obvious, and he's potter for the hidden.
Yeah.
And you have no case if it's a chaytz, you're chayiv for both. If it's not a chaytz, you're not chayiv for either. That's the most kasha. If so, then you have also a thing which is revealed, not only the hidden, even the thing which is revealed is also there's no arrow. If there's no arrow, so there's no moment either. And now comes the big surprise. In yeshivas, this takes about a month to get here, and then the whole month they didn't realize that the Gemara changes. It took us only about an hour. The Gemara retracts what it said in the beginning. The beginning it says, Shlokish doesn't hold Rabbi Yochanan doesn't hold Shlokish. He holds that has no substance, it's not your money. And here the Gemara gives in. Rabbi Yochanan agrees to Shlokish that it's your money. That he says it's also your errand.
Who agrees to
Rabbi Yochanan agrees to Shlokish that it's also your money.
it's also your
They think about substance, he takes that down. It can be considered you're responsible for it even though it's not substance. Like Shlokish says. But he says usually a fire is also your arrow. And so Shlokish talks in Rabbi Yochanan, it's not your arrow, it's only your money. And Rabbi Yochanan knows it's your money and your arrow. In some cases, it won't be your arrow, it still will be your money.
and that's going to be
That's for the haystack. Yeah, they're not for the not for and yes, and not for
Kedusha,
the
not for the
Talmud, right.
You're talking your money, you mean the money that's in the haystack, the hidden money?
Now money means that he's high for his property, for his fire, the same way he's high for his shore and bore, that's his property, he's high for his fire, which is his property. It's his money, it's his. Even though it doesn't have to legally be his, it's not a kinyan, but it means that he's high for his property damaging. Same way he's high for his shore and bore damaging, he's high for his fire damaging. Not because it's one now.
How come?
Because everyone agrees that it's your money, it's your property, even though it's not substance. The case is that after the fire was made, it's still possible for him to fence it in. The wall broke down. He made he had a wall. It was contained fire. So at that point, no responsibility. But then the wall broke down. So now he is responsible. There was a shore. You had a shore in your.
The fire is approaching the wall and didn't get there, and he has time to build the wall before it gets there.
It means he can stop the fire before it goes
He
out,
made a fire with a wall.
and that's okay.
And
Same
now
way you have a
fire-
shore inside
Wall
the
falls
pen. You're okay. Now the
And
wall
he
falls
can
down.
run and fix the wall before
Right.
the fire gets there.
Is that the same?
If someone would have had an ox
Right.
that was contained inside a pen,
Okay, right.
and
the
then
wall-
the wall
and the
falls
gate-
down, then he has no chance to catch it. So he's put there. Onus
Right,
happened. The
right.
wall fell down. But if after the wall fell down, he had a way to catch the shore and he didn't, then he's
He
responsible.
had
Or to
a
fix
period
the
of
wall.
time. He had a period of time that he could have fixed it.
He could have
Right.
fixed the wall, but
Right.
maybe the shore just didn't go out yet, and he
Yeah.
could fix the wall. That's
Right.
the point, right? Same with the fire.
Right, fire. Yeah, he could have put the fire out. He had a fire extinguisher. He could have put it out. As long as the wall is up, so then you're safe. But once the wall goes down, you have to take care of it. It's true. It's not your chitzim. It's not your chitzim, but it's your responsibility because you own it.
Uh,
So you should have to. So that's the case of mama without being a chitz.
uh,
The Hassam, similar to having an ox that you didn't close the door in front of him. Yeah, I agree that it's your money. So you have to take care of your money, you shouldn't damage.
What is the tifak about?
Tefach.
Is that the bit in the mouth? Or it doesn't?
No, for some reason it means that he should have closed in its face. He should have closed the door in front of its face.
Well, this is a tefach, isn't it?
So I don't
thought it
know.
was
I was
the
looking
thing
at-
that goes in the mouth to contain it, like a horse.
No,
It doesn't mean that.
no. Rashi that says, where is this? He doesn't say exact translation. He just says you didn't lock the door in front of him. It's like you put a shore into a corral and you didn't lock it before it. So I need a new translation for the word tafach. No, so far we know tafach and all that, but it seems to be a new word. Which I don't know what it is. Achim means befana. No, it means befana, in front of it.
Okay.
And now the Gemara asks, so if everyone agrees that that's mamona, so what's the machlokes? If everyone agrees that that's mamona, what's the machlokes? Everyone should jump up. Of course, there's machlokes because
Because
if
of
you know,
Chetzel,
it's
because he
chitzav
says
also.
it's chitzav
And therefore, that means before he said you put your animals fire, according to Shlokish, no. According to Rabbi Yochanan, yes, that stays because he holds besides being mamona, it's also chitzav.
Mhm.
And a for your camel, also your camel's fire, same thing. After that, is there someone chayiv misa for a fire that killed somebody? According to Rabbi Yochanan, yes. According to Rosh Lakish, not. Big machlokes is going on. Anything after that? What else did we have before?
Camel? It was a camel case?
The camel.
Well, we said the
with
dog, the camel,
fish.
yeah. So you chayiv for all that. You chayiv.
Camel.
He's chayiv for his camel's fire. According to the last case, was the other way that is he a ptor of giving it to Chereshot to Bekatan. So Yochanan until now said a ptor that he's put this. This is before I said that the Gemara is not so simple before that I chayiv for giving a Chereshot to Bekatan a fire. Till now, Yochanan said you put it because he shot the arrow. But now that changed now because Rabbi Yochanan holds us also money, so you have to watch your money shouldn't be mazik. Same way you have to watch your shor shouldn't be mazik. So, but the way the pshat Rashi learned before that stops at the cheresh gor means and therefore he did it because he shot the arrow. So after that, Taisa says Rashi's pshat is no good because the Gemara falls off. So Taisa learns the different pshat just to point out that problem. But the Gemara wants to know. So everyone says Rashi Taisa that the Gemara doesn't really have a problem. What's the nafkamina? We have about 4 or 5 nafkaminas. It's not the kasha, but the one saying another nafkamina. Now that Yochanan agrees to Rosh Lakish, what are they arguing about? So the Gemara could have said many things. The Gemara could have said, "Ayichai for your animal's age, Ayichai is someone chayiv misa for killing with fire." The Gemara could have said those two words. And also, what was the top of the page? I forgot already. Tamun Beish, according to Yochanan, is no ptur of Tamun Beish, only in a fancy case. According to Rish Lakish, every time he's put on Tamun. So the Gemara has other things to say, but here the Gemara says one more afkamina. Ikibenayu lachayvo ba'abod varim. Kizichai fa'abod varim. Abod varim means besides nezek, it's tzar, ripu, shebes, boshas. When a person damages, besides not damages, only chai for damages. But when a person damages, he also has to pay for the pain that he inflicted, how much that's worth, and the medical bills, and for unemployment as long as he can't work, and for the shame that he caused them. So, here the Rashi says it's not chai for boshes. Rashi goes into some detail that it's chai for nezek, tzar, ripu, sheves. But boshes not, because boshes is only when he did it intentionally. Rashi has a different. But the point is that it's considered that he did it himself. It's considered adam amazik.
Who's this butter?
Rashi points out that you can't say boshes over here. Just to see the Rashi. Usually, Arba Dvarim would mean Tzar Riba Shavas Boshes is Chamisha Dvarim. You have Nezek.
You have Nezek
and then plus 4. Okay, Rashi says it doesn't mean that. It means Nezek plus 3. That's called the 4. Rashi says there's no Boshes over here. We're a little bit small.
Yes.
It's going to be 4, but you can't count the 4 differently. Right. Rashi says Arba Dvarim here means Nezek, Tzar, Riba, and Sheves. But Rashi says Arba Boshes low. Boshes is not going to be counted over here because the Gemara says not Chai Boshes only Miskaven. And here is not Miskaven.
What are we saying? There's a difference between them?
Between what?
Rabbi Yochanan and
Yes, Rabbi Yochanan knows he's Chai for Nezek, everyone is Chai for Nezek. But the Chai also for Tzar, Ripu, and Shabbos.
Who says?
Rabbi Yochanan. Because he holds his chitzim, like he threw a rock.
Oh, right, because I see. And the Reish Lakish would say, but
Rashi throws in, there's no Boshes to find anybody. But, okay, Yashikoach.
Tonight we're learning Dersham.
Yeah, Bez Hashem. Bez Hashem. Bez Hashem tonight at 7 o'clock.
Giving a fire to a couple.